Hey guys, in this final video we'll make these Pirelli tires. They should go very nicely with our rims. And well, the way I like to start is I like to unwrap the texture. So I don't have the actual pattern, so I want to be able to lay it out flat. So I'm going to make a cylinder, set it pretty dense, 64 like this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it rotated 9 degrees so it's sitting up like this. Then I'm going to go and create a new camera. I'm going to use this camera to project the image onto our wheel. So the first thing is I'm going to select the camera, press Ctrl A, scroll down to environment, click create under image plane, browse to our image, which is this one. And I'm going to set it to looking through camera only. I don't need to see it in all views. And then we'll come down. I guess that's it. Alright, so this is all we have to do. Now, as you can see, the top and bottom is being cut off, and that's not a big deal. I'm going to press backslash. It's the key underneath your backspace key. And if you press that and use it as Alt, you can then right click and drag and you can zoom, and we're zooming the camera without changing perspective, so the actual camera, its focal length doesn't change. Now we can try and align this, and you can see as I start zooming in, you see how the perspective is changing, and we're getting, it doesn't match the perspective on the tire. So I'm going to take this and scale it up and then zoom out. So we're going to have to do this back and forth a couple times. I also do not want to see behind the wheel. So I'm going to hold spacebar, go to display, polygons, I'm going to turn on backface culling. This will only show us the front faces. That way when I press 4, I can see the wireframe without the back of the wireframe bothering me. This way I can align much better. So let's zoom in a little closer. And you can see when you're using the backslash, you're using 2D pan and zoom, and you can see it down at the bottom here. It'll tell you that your camera is panned and zoomed. And to disable it, just press that button just once, backslash, and press it again to enable it. Okay, so that's good. I'm going to go into my poly cylinder. I still have some history on that. And then I'm going to add some subdivision caps so that I can see. So there's some kind of reference point, and you can see I'm using this as the reference point to align the camera to the object. Let's see. Okay, we're getting close. Alright, so I think we need to adjust the focal length a little more. Let's try 95. Oops, 95. Okay, and I'm looking for the top line to be parallel to the tire, and the bottom as well. And then we can start aligning again. See if we have it selected, it's easier. Okay, almost there. Okay, I think we're good. Now I'm going to hold Control, click and left click the green scale. This will scale it just in Z and X, and then I can scale. I'm going to move the pivot to here. I don't know why it's reset. Huh. Oh, I think it's because it's set to let's just make sure it's on object world. Okay. Let's see. That's good. So now we can actually scale this a little more. I'm going to add a bevel. Before I do that though, I want to change the number of subdivision axis until it matches this pattern, or as best as we can. So if I drag this, looks like I moved some vertices, but I didn't. Alright, we'll figure this out. Okay, so something happened at some point. It seems to be okay now. So let's just make sure. Basically, you can't move any vertices, otherwise this will break. And I'm not sure, I don't remember moving any vertices at all, so I'm not sure why that's happening. Aha, that's better aligned now. Object. Okay. Alright, so this is nicely aligned. Now I want to add change the divisions so that it matches the pattern. Now the thing is, if we scrub this, you see how there's like an origin line, right? So what we can do is I'm going to drag this to something low like this. Then we're going to rotate until that origin line is on a section of the pattern that I can use. Like that. And what I'm noticing actually is the pattern changes. It gets thinner and thicker. It looks like it's 3 thick, 1 thin, 3, and then okay, so we'll have to you'll never notice that it's changing, so we're going to ignore that. So I'm going to pick a section that will work for me. I think this one here. Okay, so now let's scale this up in this direction. That, and then I'm going to add a bevel. Mesh, edit mesh, and click. Where's bevel? Bevel, and then we'll change the fraction and segments like that. We do it until it matches, and it's matching on that side too. Okay, so that's actually looking really good. It's like spot on. So what I'm going to do right now, you see how the cylinder has some rotation on it, this stuff. Now if we get rid of it or freeze it, then it's going to be hard to use the cylinder, but if we get rid of it, then it's not going to align to the camera. So I'm going to take the camera and just middle drag it right into the cylinder, and then I can set this to, let's see, set this to -90 and this to 90, and then we can take the camera out there. So now the camera got rotated with the cylinder and everything is nice and clean now. Now I also actually want to do this. I'm going to select the cylinder, I'm going to center the pivot, bring the camera back, and then center it this way, and then take the camera out. The reason the view is stretched here is because we have a scale on the camera, so on the poly cylinder, so it got messed up. It's not a big deal. Okay, now we can set up our projection. But actually, let's do UVs first. If you don't want to lose your place, you can always take the camera and key this stuff and key that. This way, if you accidentally move the camera, you can always just move the timeline and it'll reset. Alright, so let's look at the UVs. Okay, so I'm going to select this line and this one and cut like that. Oh, let's turn the back face culling back on. Select these faces here. Grow my selection up to there. And then I'm going to do automatic mapping just on those faces. And we can move them out of the way. I'm going to select these faces, and then I'm going to do a cylindrical map let's see, click apply. So we need to rotate the cylindrical map. Let's set it to 360, and then we need to rotate it. Nope. Like that. There it is. Then I'm going to select all of the UVs on this cylindrical map. I'm going to go to unfold, set it to scale mode. Let's see. Oh, not layout, I'm sorry, unfold. Click layout. And for this one I'm going to use legacy unfold, because legacy has something called this pinning. So I'm going to set this to vertical and click apply. So what this will do is we'll stretch it and basically unwrap it unwrap it vertically and not horizontally, the way we have it unwrapped. This way it keeps it nice and even. Let's place this down there. Scale it just a little bit. And these don't really matter too much, so but I'll place them anyway. Okay. Clear history, and let's freeze it. Alright, good. Now we can project. I'm going to assign the new material. I'm going to make it a surface shader. Out color. I'm going to right click on file and create as projection. Select our image, which is this one. You can see the projection is set up. We have a projection map, but it's set up in a way where it's not projecting correctly. So we will select the place 3D projection. It creates it right here. I'm going to go into. Whoops. Let's see. Where are we? We're in the wrong place. Surface shader. Click that. Here we go. Camera projection attributes. So they're grayed out right now. So we need to click on projection type, set it to perspective, link to camera. We set camera plane right there, and then we just need to play with some of these. There we go. Now it matches. And if we look from another view, it's messed up on this side, but right here you see it's perfect. And you can see that our pattern is actually very well, very nicely projected onto this. So if we can use this to model from, that would be great. So now, what I want to do is I want to bake it. So I'm going to select this, open up the Hypershade, graph our projection shader, which looks like this. So it's this button here to graph. Select the projection shader. We'll go into edit, convert to file texture, my software, anti-aliased. Yep. Let's see, and then set this to max. We'll do 2048. That should be more than enough. And we'll set it as a PNG. I think this is all we need. And convert. So I'm going to pause while it's converting. I'll come back. Okay, it's done. So let's take a look. Here's the new shader created. And when you see the image that looks like this, just double click the sample. There it is. So we can actually reset these guys because this is all we need. And then if we look just at this section here, let me hide the camera and the projection, I don't need it, and look at the UVs. Well, that's not helpful. It's because of surface shader, it's sometimes difficult to see. Let's look at the texture. See if we can open it in Photoshop. Okay, so in Maya, we can actually see where it saved the texture, somewhere here. Okay, well that's not helpful. There it is. Okay, so this is the texture it made, and you can actually see here is our tire. So it's messed up there, that's not a big deal, but you can see this looks actually really good. This is what we'll use to create our tire. This is the unwrapped version. So what we can do to model this is actually project it right onto a plane. So back in Maya, I'm going to hide this. I'm going to create a plane, assign new material, make it a Lambert, and then we'll select our projected texture. There it is. And we will slice it here and here. And then we need to find a repeating pattern. So I'm not sure where that's going to be, but it's going to be somewhere here. So I'm going to just do that. Invert. Snap at the grid so we're centered. Alright, so this is what we're going to work with. I think that's going to be pretty easy to do. I'm going to ignore this little bit. Alright. So let's just start cutting this. Right. Okay. Then for these things, I'm going to cut through this circular pattern. You'll see why later. That. Okay. Alright, I think that's good. Although I think I don't need this because that's the same as this side. So I'm actually going to end it here. I'm going to duplicate this so I have a clone. Control H, and then I don't need this. Okay, so we need to make one section of the pattern, and then we can just repeat it. And that shouldn't be too hard. Okay, I'm going to use some curves. Just to help me visualize the pattern a little bit. Like that. Alright, that's looking good. And I'm going to use the EP curve tool. I'm going to hold C. I'm going to drag to here and then drag here. Then I'm going to select, let me deselect that. Going to select the there we go. So I'm going to select this point here, and to make tangent, all you have to do is snap it, I'm holding C, to the curve you want to be tangent to. Like that. And here and here. And same thing. Hold C, middle drag on this curve, press 3 to make sure it's nice and smooth, and snap to that. Now we have nice clean tangent lines there. Let's do the same on this side, from here to here, and then from here to here. Okay, so we need to move these tangent lines a little closer there. Okay. That's our pattern right there. We can Control G, duplicate, move this over, do that. And then take this one. Okay, perfect. So now we can turn that off. Select this. And then we can start cutting. So right there you see there's a curve there, so I'm going to add another line like that. Probably should have that. No, that'll be enough. Okay, that's good. I'm going to use the multi-cut tool. Go from here to there and just follow that. Now Maya does have a projection you can project the curve right onto a polygonal object. I do not like to use it. It doesn't work that well. It creates a lot of stranded edges, and it's just more work for me to clean it up than just do it like this. Although I do use it from time to time when the curve is really complicated. This is really simple, so I'll just wing it by hand. And the reason I'm going to do it by hand again on this side is because it changes thickness. But now I can set this to equal, and that's not going to work. So we'll have to do it by hand again. Not a big deal, it's not that many. By the way, if you have autosave on, like I do, you will exit the tool when the autosave is happening. It's slightly annoying, but not a big deal. So if your tool finishes, it's probably your autosave. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to add another line here, because see this section here, this little extruded piece? It's actually in the middle, but because of perspective, it looks like it's close to this edge. There. I'm going to duplicate this out, and the reason I'm doing this is because from now on I want to work not from this image, because I don't want to have to do a lot more work. Oh, we kind of didn't finish this. Okay. So here's a little section. I want to assign just a Lambert to it, because I'm going to duplicate it. Move it here. And figure out where, actually let's move it here. Figure out where the next one's going to go. So that's there. So we're figuring out the thickness of our pattern, so I think that's going to be enough. Let me save. Okay, so now we can combine. And do a bridge. Then I'm going to insert a loop down the center. Multi, set it to 1. That'll make sure it's right down the center. This is really annoying, but sometimes Maya does this. It creates a... Get rid of this. It doesn't insert with edge flow, even though you don't have insert with edge flow on. So you have to just undo and redo. I don't know why it does that. Clear history. Okay, so now we need to add some loops because we're going to wrap this around. So we'll need some divisions. So let's do 3, 3, that should be good. And let's add 1 in here. Okay. Let's select this loop. Place this here. And then I'm going to set this to relative, put 1 here and 1 there. And then we'll get rid of this. Okay, just want to move this down. Okay, so here's our repeatable pattern. Now we just need to start cutting it. I don't know if we actually need this because you'll never notice it. So let's figure this out. So this is cut all the way to here. So that's that. And then okay. Alright, so we need to extrude this. So I'm going to just select these guys, that, and that. So that's going to be extruded down. Like that. And then we'll just need to get rid of these guys, these faces here. Alright. Now we're going to extrude that. Like this. Okay. Okay, so I was planning to radiate lines around this to make a rounded cut, but I think it's not necessary. So I'm just going to re-cut these. So it won't take long. Okay, so that means we can get rid of this line, this one, and this one, and that one. There. And then we'll extrude these. So I'm looking for those lines right now. Okay. And we'll just extrude those down. So we'll need to get rid of these faces. If we selected them originally would have been fine. Alright, so there's double faces here, so we'll have to delete these twice. Okay, so that's what it's starting to look like. That's good. And now this loop is extruded up to here, and then from here up to here. So let's deselect that. And then extrude that. And same thing. We'll have some double faces we'll have to delete. Like that. So I'm just smoothing it to preview. This will show me if anything is not merging correctly or is messed up. That's looking good. Let's see what else. We're missing anything else? Ah, yes we are. Okay, so let's make this cut. That means we can drop a line down the middle here and get rid of these edges. They're unnecessary. And get rid of this. Let's just space this out a little bit better. There we go. There it is. There's our pattern. And then the top here, if we unhide that, it's basically this part that's duplicated over. Let's see, from here to there. So let's duplicate this and then rotate it 180 degrees. Okay, so it's like this. So it continues, I think, in the same direction. So what we need to do is select these edges here. I'm going to extrude them down. merge, soften just to make sure everything's good. I'm going to combine both of these. I'm going to then select this edge and this one and click contiguous edges. I'll just select two straight lines and then we can bridge between them. Alright, so there it is. There's our pattern. Now, if we want, we can actually add some bevels. So the first thing I actually want to do is add loops like this. And then I'm going to start adding bevels, just so that it preserves the shape or the detail. I only need 2. I don't need the rest. Actually, don't need this. This is all that we need. This is the repeatable pattern. And now you see here how it continues. We actually don't need it to continue. We can wrap this and kind of close this off. And we can do that simply by just using our poly cut tool or multi-cut tool. Oops, sorry, wrong one. I want to keep this spread out evenly, so I'm actually going to delete all of this. And then you see these lines here, I'm going to delete those as well. Go to object mode. I want to make a cut like so. This will now round. And now it's nice and clean. And then we'll do the same on this side. Okay, so we need to do the same here. Whoops. So I want to keep this for the curvature. So to keep that, we will have to just select these edges here like this, drop a line like that, and then the same here. These faces, I mean. And then we can use the multi-cut tool just to redirect those lines. Okay. You can see these are looking good, so we just need to do the same to the others, and those will look great also. Okay, so it's this one. We can also do this. Oops, let's do 25, 25, like that. this going? Okay, so this is a predicament because we don't have anywhere for these to go. Okay, so I'm going to do this. Oops. Like that. So I found a area that I can just round this off on, which is here. We can also do it inside there, but it's better just, well, it'll be fine here. I think it's small enough that it's not going to be an issue. There. Okay, we need to do that here and here as well. So a couple more points. I don't know why, just skipping all over the place. Delete that, and because we can't get rid of these lines completely, we'll just redirect them. Oh, I think we're done. Okay, that's looking really good. So I'm going to come in from this view, and I just want to add a bevel like that. Just makes the pattern nice and sharp. Okay, I think we're good. Alright, so now what we need to do is wrap this around. And if we look at our cylinder here, if I place this pattern like this and then like that, so let's do -90, and where's that, 0? Like that. Alright, so I'm going to try and match this. If we turn on, can we see anything like that? Yeah. Alright, so let's find a section like that. so that's the size. And I'm going to freeze it. Then I'm going to clear history, rotate it this way, like that. We'll place the pivot down here, and then do this, because now what we're going to do is we're going to wrap this, and we have enough resolution that we can easily do this. So I'm going to create a bend deformer. I'm going to move the bend deformer down here and align it this way, 90. I'm going to take the curvature and just do that, so I know that's the wrong direction. So I'm going to move it here, and what we're going to do, see if we move the bend deformer, see how it rolls, and then we have a high bound and low bound. So if I take the high bound and set it to 0, you can see that it now the bend will happen only from where I start the bend, where the origin is. I'm going to snap it right here. And now all I have to do is just curve this. We can scale it, curve it. Oops. Like that. Now if you look at this, you can see what it did. Wrapped it around very nicely. Now I'm going to leave this bend deformer on there. I'm going to go to create deformers, nonlinear, and select another bend deformer. Move it down here. So we need just 90 here. That means in the second one, if we just put 90 here and 0 here, it should be aligned in the same direction, like that. And this time we'll set the low bound to 0, snap this there, and then we can just copy the information from one to the other because it's even on both sides. And then also we need the scale for this bend deformer. So this one is that there. Now that's almost correct. We set the bound in the wrong place. We just need to set this to positive. There. That's perfect. And now I'm going to duplicate it. Oops, let's delete it first. I need to set the pivot here, duplicate, then I can snap there, and I can do Shift D. We'll make it really long. We're not sure exactly how long we need it. And you can see what it looks like. I think it looks really good. Wraps around nicely. It looks awesome. Alright. I'm going to combine them and merge them. Hopefully mine won't crash. Please, please, please. There. Let's just check, make sure we don't have any weird merges going on. Nope, all good. Okay, so now I'm going to center the pivot. I'm going to then move the pivot down to the bottom. Like that. Snap it to the bottom there. I'm going to then move it to the center of our tire like this, and then create deformers. I'm going to make a nonlinear bend, rotated like this. We also need to make sure this deformer is at the bottom like that. So we need to rotate this way, so 90 here. So the way you do it is you set the curvature to 180, and then you scale this deformer down until you get to the right scale. And what you also want to do is you want to overlap the features like that. So you want to either go like this. So looking right here in the center, you want to try and overlap the features to match our scale. So that's not good. That's going to work. So it's a little smaller, but we can always scale up. Let's hide all this reference. Okay. So let's see where the overlap is happening. Okay, so let's so let's see. Okay, so that's our center line. That means we can use that as our merge point. And just duplicate that, hide, clear history on this. Okay, so that's our line. So if we select that, edge loop, so basically if you want to select this and see how there's more than 4 edges connected to this vertex, your edge loop will stop, so you can convert selection to edge loop. When it stops, use the contiguous edges and then continue converting to edge loop, and that should give you, that should let you go all the way around. And then we can do edit, edge, detach, and then select this side and delete, and then the same here. So I'm going to use contiguous edges, select, convert selection to edge loop, contiguous edges, edge loop, contiguous edges, until it's all the way around. And then we can do again edit, detach, delete. Okay, so this is going to be a little messed up. It's perfectly fine, because what we'll do is we'll actually remove a section, then rotate and reattach. So let's do that real quick. Let's see, so we'll need to actually remove a little more. Whoops, that's not good. okay. That's all around. Let's detach. And delete that. Okay, we're having a little issue here. We can actually do something else. I'm going to just select one section that we made, which is actually this much. Alright, so we're missing a piece here. Not anymore. Okay, so this is a section that we can actually duplicate. So I'm going to delete that. So I need a pivot for centering. So I'm going to use this object right here. I'm going to group it, center it, and if I scale this to 0, go to display, polygons, vertices, I can have a vertex to scale to, and I can then set this back to 1 and just hide. And let's actually look at this for 1 second. Okay, so I want to know how many sections I have, so I'm going to make a cylinder. Turn on wireframe and see if we can figure out how many divisions we have. Okay, let's see. Alright, so we have 37. So if we do some math, 360 divided by 37 equals this long number. So I'm going to copy it, hide this, delete that. I'm going to select this, duplicate it, and then in the rotation I'm going to add that number 37 times. Perfect. Let's hide this. Right, now I can select these guys and combine. Let's click on merge, but make sure nothing got merged by accident. Good. And soften edge. And now let's turn off wireframe. And there's our tire. I think that looks really good. Alright, so now what we can do is we can bring our wheel in. So I'm gonna select everything else here. Let me just save. Then I'm gonna select everything here, delete, and save scene as a new clean version, like that. And then I'm gonna go into open scene, find the wheel, don't need this, so I'm gonna group it, rotate it, and now let's import our tire. I'm going to add just a single loop here and here. Bring that in. And then for the wheel, that. And whoops. There it is, almost. Did not center it. Alright, there it is. That looks pretty good. I don't know which side needs to be around. Maybe it should be like this? Probably, yeah. Okay, that looks better. What the hell? Ah. Alright, so one side's longer than the other. Then we'll add a loop back in. Okay, now we're done. Let's render it and see what it looks like. Let's save this, save scene as. Let's test it with, let's do it with Arnold. So let's open up the hover shade. Let's go to lights, create a sky dome light, and I want to add an image to our sky dome. We have this room. It's going to work out nicely. And let's add some shaders. Let's do 2A standards. Like that. So this will be our that's our chrome, and then for this we'll add just a black tire. Okay, let's see what we get. Let's go in here. Arnold. See if it renders. Alright, I need to restart Maya 1 sec. Okay, Maya's back up, so let's open up our render settings. Arnold, set this to 4 at first, and let's do an IPR. Okay, so our grab these guys. Okay, so this is not very good. Let's turn the weight on. See what that gives us. Okay, here it comes. Alright, I think it looks pretty good. You can always add more detail to the tires, add little lines there. We can always texture it. So, but I think we're in a good place. So if you like this video, subscribe and like. If you have any suggestions, leave it in the comments. Thank you for watching. This one's a little bit of a long one. Alright, thanks.